choices that we make as people in a particular society, and the ramifications that has for the long-term health of a nation and society, particularly in 2025. Specifically, we're going to tear into some more aspects of a declining population here. And I did see one statistic today that was kind of, it's fascinating to me that we're here with Gen Z and all that. And it said today like 20% of Gen Z is LGBTQIA++. And I'm not going to be talking specifically about that. But when we talk about population and we talk about economics here, and we talk about the loss of family structure and what the impact of that has been on this nation, well, it's profound and it bears some tearing into. And well, some people might be a little pissed off today and some people might be delighted, but it is opinion time here. And we'll show a few things that kind of back up what I'm going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. Good morning to all of you. I own more than, I was like a Champion, man. You must be make a fortune from Champion. Champion has never given me anything around here. I just like it because, well, it's kind of too expensive to heat the house these days, and it's cold, and it's not Charles Dickens, ooh, a Christmas Carol cold. But it's pretty doggone cold around here, and Champion gear just tends to be thick and fleecy and comfortable, and well, I like it, right? But, oh, and by the way, if you're not subscribed and hit that bell for all notifications. We're going to get into it today. As I said, but this is not about LGBTQIA++, URBWXYZ, okay? That's not about this today, but it just shows you how threats continue to grow that are counter to a growing population. When you have sort of trans, same-sex couples and things like that, the overall tendency is to put another downward lever that acts to decrease population over the long term. That's the way I'm looking at that today. But it's fascinating to me when I see now, like recently in the last couple years, and I kind of had an inkling that this was going to be coming because of declining population, not enough young people anymore. That recently Sonoma State University laid off, they're laying off, like, I don't know, lots and lots of professors, even tenured professors. They're cutting their whole athletic program. This is Sonoma State University or California State University System, Sonoma campus, otherwise known as Sonoma State University. You have these all throughout, like, Janet went to Cal State Stanislaus down in Stanislaus County. They're all over Chico and all these places. Quite frankly, it's brutal because since 2015, the base of students has declined just under 40%. Think about that. The number of students attending Sonoma State has declined 40%, and they spent a lot of money renovating buildings and upgrading facilities just in time now to cut the entire athletic department and to cut majors like gender and women's studies, philosophy, history. What else are they going to cut? Economics, right? I'm not sure if they're cutting any foreign language or things like that, but wow, I mean, can you imagine? And the first thought that crossed my mind is, why in the hell would anybody go to this university anymore? Right? It's not what you call well-rounded anymore. So I think I'm going to put it on the death spiral watch and say it's probably going to go out of existence in a few years because a well-rounded college experience usually has some measure of athletics to it. It's all gone now. All those people this is their last semester there. All the coaches, all the student athletes that are on scholarships. I don't know if the university is going to pay them to continue, but if you're a good athlete, you're not going to hang. You're going to go into the transfer portal and get the hell out of Dodge and go to a place that can support that, right? You can't run an enterprise and cut almost $30 million of costs, right, without cutting a hell of a lot of programs, because there's just not the students to support that anymore. And if anything, it's going to be a death spiral in terms of attracting new students. So I would venture a guess to say within about 3 to 5 years, the university will probably have to go out of existence. Well, right? And education, higher education across a lot of the nation, it's not just particular here to California. You know, you have elite universities that everybody wants to get into, that everybody's always going to want to get into. And then you have the second tier universities that have to cut and bleed to death to keep themselves in existence. Same thing is going in junior college here, Santa Rosa Junior College, which something almost 40,000 students are involved in. You know, they have to reinvent themselves with adult programs and stuff like that. It's not so easy when you're part of a Cal State system to do stuff like that. So this is going on all over the nation. And I believe that something I saw here that you'll see here right now, that there'll be 80 colleges that'll be closing in the next few years across America. 80. You take 80 times, you know, I don't know, X number of people that are working at this, you know, the trend is downward for employment. And it all comes back to the lack of having children, right? And this was never a problem until the 1960s or 70s. And a lot of people have said to me, well, it's just not affordable to have kids anymore. But that's only one issue of many, and it ignores the root cause of an issue that says, why in the hell is something expensive? Well, number one, the cost of college education was underwritten by the United States government. And again, if you don't think that we're in the most Marxist nation in the history of the world, right, with the government involved in every aspect of people's lives, right, then you're living in a dream world. But when we started to get student loans under the theory that everybody should go to college and blah, 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 and sign their life over to a lifetime of indentured servitude as they pay off these debts, the taxpayers got it, right? Tens of billions of dollars have landed back on the taxpayers' laps. And it's not like the taxpayers got the benefit of going to college, right? But they do get stuck with the bill for it, okay? Bad life choices, right? Bad idea that everybody should go to college. So, as usual, through the power of economics and things, higher education goes back to being what it was always to begin with. It's an elitist type of thing that usually only the wealthy can afford. And it was only in the 1970s that financial support became broad-based, and we had this overgrowth of the entire higher educational system. There was money to be made, and you also had these bullshit online universities and these things that went bust, right? It was like a gravy train, right? There was money to be made for everybody. But the reality is, when you look at something like this, and just look back in the 1920s, like the size of the average home in America was something on the order of, 1,200 square feet. And by a few years ago, we peaked out at 2,700 feet. I mean, for an average American home, right? And people complain because housing is so expensive. Well, is housing expensive, or do we demand more bedrooms, more bathrooms, more comfort in life? In other words, the focus becomes on us and what we want and how we want to live. And don't sit there and say, well, you're passing judgment about, I'm just stating a fact about the size of the average American home. Draw your own conclusions, but it is a matter of priorities and how you choose to live. When we talk about the children are unaffordable, a good part of that is the emphasis that we put on the things that are important in life, right? So there's no doubt that housing has become more expensive because, well, we want more expensive houses over time. The chart proves it, right? I mean, when I was a kid, we were lucky to just have cars that you turn the key and the son of a gun just starts, right, and goes without having to pop the clutch and go down the hill and all that. Now something over 30% of all cars in America are luxury cars now, right? What does that say about people? It says that they want to live a life that elevates their own personal satisfaction, and therefore less and less emphasis on a future generation or having children. It's like, I want to concentrate on myself and my own enjoyment, right? And then, I'm not going to have kids, right? I want to be able to go on that cruise. I want to be able to buy that luxury car, right? Look at the number of people that get food delivered. I'm just in basic groceries to meals, just entire meals delivered through Uber Eats and Grubhub and all these things. Grocery stores with the convenience of bringing things to your home, right? Nobody can say in a lot of ways that we're under stress when this is going on, because we actually treat ourselves better than we ever have before with Netflix and all the internet, all the social media and all that stuff. We're the most entertained society in the history of the world. But people say, Roosevelt, 200 channels of bullshit. There's not a thing to watch on there. I can't help the program side. But it does shed some light on the priorities that have now taken over much of humanity here, especially in the West, and the emphasis that's put on living your best life and not thinking about procreating. Now, of course, there's the downside to that is brutal. And we're seeing that now in a downsized society, right? And it's just hitting education first, especially higher education. But also here, Santa Rosa City school system needs to have layoffs. The city of Santa Rosa's budget, the school system has less kids going to it. 4 elementary schools have to be shut down, 1 middle school. Down, 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 right? A shrinking population of children and young people is not a good way to build the future. It's exactly opposite in the long term, because it degrades the entire society. When they can't, we put people into nursing homes when they get older and things. And when there's nobody to care for them, or the level of care is horrible, it all comes around and closes the loop, right? Whereas back in the 1920s, long before the concept of nursing homes was even developed, right? We had an idea that the elderly live with their families until they pass on and all that. So we put that whole function over to a great extent to nursing homes and things like that. Now, and that has a very real cost for the future, right? Because the realistic aspect of it is that we're going to be short of people to do a lot of things in the future, right? Some people might say, this is why we need immigrants. Yeah, we need people that properly immigrate into this nation, and not some type of border free-for-all that just goes nutty, and then we end up having to extract, starting with some of these hardened criminals and these people that have no right, to just help their own countries out by dumping them out of prisons and things like that, right? I'm all for immigration. All for immigration. This nation was built on immigration. But when they stand up and protest and hold signs, this nation was built on immigrants, yeah, it was built on illegal immigrants until about 25, 30 years ago, right? And then it went off the rails, right? So we're just seeing the initial fallout here in places like education, with declining number of students coming through the system. And I kind of get rankled up when people say, well, it's because it's too unaffordable to have children today. No, it's because of the emphasis that we put on and where our priorities are in life to a very great extent. Okay? Kids are selfish. Kids need attention. Kids need all that kind of stuff, right? If they're going to grow up and be successful, they're going to need money poured into them. But, you know, when weighing off against a grander lifestyle and things like that, well, it's a time where kids, future kids, lose out on that, okay? And kids become expendable too, and I think you know what I mean. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close it out. Another very deep and philosophical discussion today. Thank you so much. I know that agreements are going to be all over the place, but one of the hallmarks of this channel has always been the ability of people to get along and express opinions all through the most divisive election in the United States history. We still managed to keep it together in a civil way, and I am proud of that, right? This will be a place where civil discourse continues. All right, thumbs up, appreciate it. And above all, if you've not subscribed, subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications. You want to be a part of future discussions here, future activities on the channel. Love you guys to be here. Thanks so much for watching. Be here often, open your mind, and learn. Thanks for watching, everybody.